Bella Networking the Guru, and what my role is, it's split into two halves. Well, the fun side, I should say, is I get to attend a lot of great networking events, all different types. And I tend to help clients with networking training, where I have a 5-step model, which is in your goodie bag. But what I also do is I have a consultancy side for Bella Networking, and I tend to only work with 3 clients a year because it's very strategic, it's very intense, and it's all about doubling your clients. So who here today would like to double their clients? Raise of hands or say yeah. Okay, so let me just roll with you so you can do some of the work. Would you agree that networking creates opportunities? Yes. So networking creates opportunities. Okay, a little bit louder. Networking creates opportunities. Okay, so if we look at networking, what do we think networking is? What's networking in the audience? What's networking? Why do we network?
To meet new people, make new connections.
Yeah, what else? Why do we network?
Build relationships.
Yeah, what else?
To gain clients.
Yeah, maybe to eat nice canapes. I do that sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so with networking, one of the things we really have to understand that it is a long-term process, building relationships for mutual benefits. If those 3 are not in the definition, it's not going to work. How you go about doing it, you can be creative. That's one of the reasons I like networking. For example, it's not like an accountant, you have to balance the book. So you can be creative. And you can also be creative on what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So if you're not so good walking up to a group, then you can use your strengths in other ways. So when I usually work with my clients for business development, it's a 3-month program. And it's very much taking the journey about what are your services, what are your products, why are you selling what you're selling, who are your competitors, looking at it from entrepreneurial mind, going through trademarks, which I would be assisted by Ken. So I really look at your business before I even start with the investigation of networking. But one of the things that you really have to understand is networking creates opportunities. Oh, good, you're with me. Right. I know you're getting ready for lunch, but I'll get you a bit buzzed up. So the other thing about networking is where a lot of people fall short. Networking is also a marketing tool, and it is also a business development tool. And I stand here as an example that networking works. When I started my business in 2008, it was in the heart of the recession. I had no marketing budget, I had no branding budget, but what I had was my own brand and a personal brand and a primary goal that I wanted to create relationships. Now you would have heard in different messages, another person is only going to buy from you if they like or trust you. Barnaby gave another example, or if it's like for like, if the 2 of you share something in common. So I'm going to share with you just a few of my tips of the journey that I take with my clients to help them double their income. So the first one is, what's your story? Everybody has a story. And people are going to relate more to you if you're able to tell that story because it shows the human side of you. Sometimes we say business shouldn't be filled with emotions, but the emotions and learning about another person really works. So I told you about my story, that I'm an only child. I actually had very poor social skills, but I actually used that as my strength to be the best in your game. If you don't have a story, I'd ask you 3 questions and I'll find a story for you. The other thing is, you cannot be afraid of the numbers. You cannot be afraid of the numbers. One of the reasons I've become successful as a networking guru is I'm very data driven. So I'll go to networking events and I'll see old colleagues and I haven't seen them for months, sometimes years. So one of the first questions will be, hi Bella, I haven't seen you for a while. And I say, I haven't seen you for a while. And I always ask, because sometimes I'm networking for research. I'll ask, oh, I haven't seen you around a bit. How comes you haven't been networking? Oh, networking's not working. It doesn't work for me. So then my first question is, what's your goal? I don't have a goal. Oh, you have a goal because you're a networking guru. No. Every business has a goal you know you want to achieve. So there's no goal. And then the second question, which I don't need to ask because they're there because they don't believe networking works, is they don't have a measure. If you're attending an event and it's not working for you, there's going to be a reason why. And there's not just going to be one reason why, there'll be 2, 3, 4, and 5. It could be as simple as you're not networking with your target audience, which I'll mention a bit later. You're going to the wrong networking events. It could be a choice of just 2 things. Instead of going to evening events, you go to morning events. And in terms of working the numbers, don't be afraid of numbers. You need to track. How many networking events are you going to in a week? How many business cards are you receiving? Of those business cards, how many of them did you actually follow up with? Was it by email? Was it by phone? And was business generated? But business generated comes in many forms. It could be a referral. It could be a supplier. So if you are afraid of the numbers and not measuring, you need to start being confident about those numbers. The other thing, which is also about the story as well, is we sell on value, not our services. We sell on value, not our services. When I go to a networking event, I can assure you I'm going to meet an accountant, a website designer, a lawyer, graphic designer. Any more? Who else do you keep seeing at networking events?
Oh, you said accountants.
Life coach.
Lawyers.
Life coach.
Yeah, coaches are everywhere.
Lawyers.
Yeah. It's not your service, it's the value. I have a colleague coming on my show in the next 2 weeks, and he won an award in Croydon for being an accountant. And he's a key example that he brings value. With his clients, he's just not doing the books. He's just not balancing the books. He talks to you about your business, the way he communicates. And he has a very strong personal brand within the Croydon location. And he's been very strategically niched in Croydon only. And that's enough business for him. So when he goes networking, he's not selling, I'm an accountant. I'm helping your business grow. I'm taking your business to the next level. So when I'm helping my clients to double their client, you need to be mindful at that networking event when you've got just one choice, one option, when the other delegate says, what do you do? Be a bit creative. And you can use the first tip, sell your story. The other tip is master the art of conversation. With my Facebook live shows, I took it to another level where I allow my guests to ask me a question that they have been struggling with. And I always say, don't ask me the question, I want to get excited just in case I can't answer it. I'm just waiting for that one question that I can't answer. And it's so funny, with my research last year, I was focusing on the following up, because that's when business really takes place, which I'll talk to you about later. However, since the beginning of this quarter, the most common questions that I am being asked are, if I'm at a networking event and there's a group having a really, really nice conversation, how do I approach that group? And I had to apologise, because maybe with my talent of networking, it never dawned on me for the slightest that delegates at a networking event felt nervous or uncomfortable to approach a group. For me, it's like riding a bike. Now, here's the good thing, and also looking at measures. I don't need you to get your fingers and toes out, but if you approach a group, that's more than one person, right? And then you can exchange a business card. Doesn't that mean you are performing more efficiently and say on the numbers if you just approach one person? Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's the good thing with networking. You can be creative. So if you are nervous, rule of thumb, say in your mind, at this networking event, I'm not just going to speak to one person. I'm going to speak to groups of people. Groups of people. Then you realise you're advertising yourself to a number of people each time, right? Okay. The other one is network with your target market. The other thing that mesmerises me is a lot of business owners or entrepreneurs or startups, for some reason, they just believe networking events should just happen at a networking event. Your target audience can more or less be anywhere. Do we agree? Because networking creates... Right. Let me tell you the best places I like to network, where I can find my target audience, is hotels. I love hotels. And actually a hotel that I would recommend is the Trafalgar Hotel, and they have a great business lounge called Connections. Why? Because other SMEs are there. And what's the other bonus? If you are scared to talk in a crowd, you can sit and have a nice conversation when it's not noisy. How many people have meetings at a hotel? Another one. Co-working facilities. Co-working facilities are on the rise. I have been watching co-working facilities since 2005 because I was approached by many co-working facilities in the start-up, and it wasn't the buzz then, and I did a lot of events. Co-working is on the rise. WeWork is almost the biggest one now. And with a co-work facility, it's so large, there's so many businesses that are just like you. Could you imagine you have like 3 breaks a day? You have your morning coffee, you have your lunchtime coffee, your afternoon coffee. Each time you go to the coffee machine, there's another business just like you. So it's still networking, right? You're still doing the same thing that you would do at an event. Oh, hi, what's your business? Are those not the same questions? So networking creates opportunities. Another place I love to network, I love, is private galleries. Also, the food is great on the first night, by the way. Private galleries, the openings, fantastic. Why? I sometimes do consultancy for more high-value turnover clients. I know that's where they hang out. So it's going to be great. So you really need to mix up where you're going to network. I don't know if many of you watch my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. You can find it at Bella Networking. Now, a lot of people struggle with following up, and this has been like one of my popular YouTube channels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can play it, and then I will explain it to you. I'm hoping the sound will come out.
Thank you for watching Bella Networking TV, whether you're in London or New York.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you for watching Bella Networking TV, whether you're...
It's not going to work. But what I should do...
hear it from there.
Oh, can you? Don't worry, it's not going to work. It's a live show, so anything can happen. What I'll do is I'll actually email it to you, because it's very important. So a a lot of people struggle with networking, and it's really, really important to get your head around this. Because if you imagine Nucleus IP have been going for 130 years, I know Ken well, not since 130 years, but I've known him for 6 years. But I know that Ken and his team only really started networking maybe 4 years ago. Right, I need to stress this. When you attend a networking event only really lasts about 4 hours. I have a business in New York, and New Yorkers, they don't mess with time. It's 2 hours. So what I'm trying to explain to you is, you're only meeting that person for 4 hours, right? When you leave, your business is still growing. So then it's 3 years old, 6 years, 3 years old, 3 months, a year, 2 months. Yeah? Do you understand? Right. So networking is where the magic happens. That's the business development. So if you're not following up after a networking event, you're actually wasting your time. Why have you bothered to go? Okay? That's when you turn your business cards into clients. And that's when you build long-term relationships. And that's when you see networking creates opportunity. Right. But I want to leave you with this, that you don't just network the once. No, that's not going to work. And I remind clients who I train and give consultancy, if you ever forget, it is just like dating. If a guy's interested in you, really interested in you, he's not just going to take you out on one date, right? Well, you would hope he's not unless you've done him from Tinder. But, you know, he's going to make a bit of an effort, innit? It might be a nice meal, it might be to the cinema, but he kind of makes an effort. So that's like networking. You have to cultivate those relationships. For example, Barnaby Winter, I met him in 2011, and he's a speaker today. Not only do you build those relationships, is try to keep up to date. So what I periodically do is, on a Thursday and on a Friday, you will find me in a nice hotel having my coffee follow-ups. And some of those coffee follow-ups will range from people I met 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, to 2 years ago. Because if I'm serious about growing my business, I'm serious to help you grow your business as well. So networking is a mutual benefit. The other bonus why it's so important to follow up 3 or 4 times is we're living in a fast-paced digital area. Samantha demonstrated just with digital marketing, things have changed. Things are changing with SMEs roles and job roles. You may have even met somebody 3 months ago. And when you have a follow-up with them, or you may not have even spoken to them for 6 months, a lot can actually change. So it's not just that one follow-up. So I usually give a longer presentation, but I really wanted to highlight some of the key tips that you can really start to think about. And it's all about having a plan, having a goal, and having a measure to see what works and what doesn't work. And as I mentioned, the beautiful thing about networking is you can be creative as you want to. And it's my job to find out what your weaknesses are and bring those strengths and create a winning strategy. Because networking creates opportunities. Fantastic. So guys, you've been watching the Facebook Live show. We will be back here Monday, 12:15. And if you've enjoyed the show, please drop a comment or hit the likes button. Thanks very much. You can switch off.